Hey guys, hope you guys are having an amazing day so far. Your boy is back with another subreddit video. And as you guys can see in the title, today we're diving back into a scary subreddit. I'm excited, but at the same time, terrified. Because if you guys didn't know, we did r/let's not meet last week. And I was mortified. I spent like an extra 30 minutes at night before bed, making sure all my doors were locked, making sure the PVC pipe would be blocking the sliding door, even if someone was able to get through that lock. Like, I was going through it, guys. It was really scary, but it's super fun to do these videos, and you guys seem to enjoy them a lot. And I read the comments of the last Let's Not Meet, and you guys said to explore, or a few of you guys said this, r/nosleep. And this subreddit is massive. It's also another scary stories subreddit full of quote unquote true stories, or what people claim to be true. So we're going to see. I'm excited to see what's kind of terrifying stuff we'll get into today. But if you guys are new to my channel, we do videos like this one and various other subreddit videos every single day on my channel. So if you enjoy it, make sure you guys stay tuned by hitting the subscribe and the notification bell. And also, we're like so freaking close to 10,000 subscribers, guys. So thank you so much, everyone who's been supporting me. It's insane. We are literally about to hit this goal, if we haven't already by the time that this video is up. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, also make sure you hit the like and comment section down below. It helps me out a lot with the algorithm, and I love engaging with your guys' content. And I usually read almost every single bit of your guys' comments you let down below, and I love feedback. And as you can see, we're on r/nosleep today because of it. So yep, let's get into this. r/nosleep. I have the top post this week here, and let's see what piques my interest. All right, so this one says, the title, I've been living in the van life for a while now, but last night some kids knocked on my window. They wanted me to let them in. That is so scary. What? I don't know how long I have. My battery's at 14%, and I don't dare to start the van. If I do, they'll hear me. I know that sounds paranoid, but you didn't see them, or maybe you have. If you have, tell me. I need to know if I can get out of here okay. Damn, where are they to be stuck in a situation where they're like stuck in some specific area where they can't even like make noise? I'm really curious. Like, they gotta be in like the middle of Montana or something. All right, here we go. I travel alone. I document it. My channel isn't big yet, maybe 12,000 subscribers. Oh, hey, we're almost at the same amount. Congrats. But I post regularly. Off-grid campsites, van conversations, solo travel tips, that kind of thing. I love that type of content. I stay out of cities, and I stay off well-worn paths. The further I am from people, the safer I feel. I totally get that. Or I guess I should be saying the safer I used to feel. Yeah, that's the one sacrifice of going off-grid. If you do see somebody, it's even more scary. All right, tonight, I'm parked off a forest road in Idaho, miles from the nearest town. It's the kind of place where if you scream, no one would hear you. Yeah, Idaho, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Man, this is getting scary already. That's one of my go-to videos, by the way. A big scream, loud as I can, and then just ... the silence afterwards. What? Okay. Basically, the place was perfect until the knock came. A single knock, soft one, not on the door, on the window. Whoa, that's scary. Because it's like, usually you're laying by the window too. It's in van life, at least, because you usually have your windows set up where your bed is. So imagine trying to like sleep or be on your phone and you hear a knock right there instead of where you assume a knock should be. That's so scary. Sorry to go on this little quick tangent, but a knock on a window is always scarier than a door because you're expecting the door knock, right? Like, that's where people normally knock. So your brain, if you hear a window knock, you're like, what the hell? Like, that is like, it's not only just scary, but it's like it's odd. You know, my mom once knocked on my window because she couldn't get into the front door for some reason. I don't know. It was really weird. And I was asleep and I was so scared. I thought I was going to or be unalived. All right. So there was a single soft knock on the window. I froze. It was about 1 a.m. The woods were silent, no wind, no animal noises. My van is unmarked. I never advertise. I'm a woman traveling alone. And I always wait and post my videos a week after I leave the spot, just to make sure no one catches on to where I'm parked. Very smart of her. So how did someone find me, let alone creep up without setting off any motion lights. Oh, they have motion lights too. Very, very smart. Another knock. Light. Insistent. There was no way this could be any good, right? My heart was racing. My stomach was twisted into knots. Muscles pulled tight. I reached for my phone. My stupid fingers fumbled it and it hit the floor mat. The thump seemed thunder loud, and when I sat back up, I nearly screamed. A child's face was pressed against the window. Pale skin, dark hair, wide, staring eyes, but something was wrong. The glass reflected weird, but there was no shine in the kid's pupils, just black, completely black. What the what kind of horror movie? What is going on? Are we watching an A24 movie? This is terrifying. This sounds like some Hereditary, Insidious, like what the? All right, let's keep going. Man, I have goosebumps already, guys. A kid, you know what? It's weird because like you would think seeing a kid would be less scary. No, not if their pupils are like that. That is so fuck. What is a kid doing out here by himself? That's so scary. Okay. I choked on my breath. Every instinct in me screamed, wrong, wrong, wrong. Why was a child out here? I was so far away from many of the main roads. It wasn't a kind of place for a child to be. The kid didn't move. He didn't blink. Then another knock. My head snapped towards the sound, and my stomach dropped. There was a second one, a little girl this time, standing by the back doors. Same dark hair, same vacant black stare. Bro, what the f***? I don't scare easy. I've slept in parking lots where guys tried breaking into my van. You still do van life after experiencing stuff like that? That is so scary. I've camped in places where the only sounds were coyotes circling. I'm not an adrenaline junkie, but I'm also not just starting out. But this was something else. I kept my hand low, fumbling for my knife while trying to keep my breath steady. That sounds bad. These were just kids, right? But you don't understand. There was something wrong with them. The boy at the window finally spoke. Let us in. What the fudge? 3 words, no emotions, no inflection. Just a flat, empty demand. I shook my head. It made all my hair stand on end. He spoke again, more persistent this time. Let us in. The girl knocked again, harder. I heard it rattle the doors. It was a childish response, but I grabbed my blanket and pulled it over my shoulders, cowering beneath the heavy cotton like it was a shield. Like, I'm curious, like, did the person have window curtains, or like, is this person, like, are you seeing the shadow of them through the curtains, or is it just straight up no curtains? They're just staring right into your place. Like, that's so scary. I clutched my knife so tightly, it made my knuckles ache. I don't know how long I sat there, too afraid to breathe. I knew that if I opened the door, I wouldn't be able to close it again. Suddenly, they stepped back. The dark of night engulfed the windows again. I barely had time to process that relief before a new sound nearly made me scream. A tap on the driver's side. I whipped around. There was a third child, a new one. This kid was a little taller. He was maybe 12 at the oldest, standing inches from the driver's side door. Unlike the other kids, he was grinning. The handle jerked, but I kept my doors closed so it didn't open. The grin widened. Let us in. Dude, what? Like, oh my God. Guys, what the freak is going on? This is so scary. You guys just like reading this stuff? I mean, I enjoy it, but I am really scared. Oh, here we go. The same 3 words again. It wasn't a question. It was a demand. I don't remember grabbing my keys, but suddenly they were in my hand. I flipped the ignition. The dashboard lit up. My heart slammed. If I had to, I'd run them over. But the engine didn't start. I turned the key again. Nothing. Nothing. Dude, I was about to say I would be out of there, but if your engine's not starting, the battery was fine. The gas was full. It had started just fine this afternoon. But right now, the van wasn't starting. And the kids, they were just standing there. All right, so the van wasn't starting. And the kids, they were just standing there, still standing there, staring, smiling. I reached for my phone, Fingers shaking. No service. Then the tapping started again. Every window, every door. A slow, measured rhythm. Knock, knock, knock. I must have blacked out at some point because the next thing I knew, the van was filled with light, sunlight. I woke up still clutching my knife. Damn, so they like had a whole I guess a blackout / panic attack induced sleep. All right, sunlight. I woke up still clutching my knife. My doors were locked. My keys were still in the ignition. That is scary. My phone was in my lap. Battery at 23%. I risked a glance outside, but there was no sign of kid. I opened the driver's side door, heart hammering. The air smelled like damp earth pine. A beautiful misty morning. My tires were untouched. There were no footprints in the loomy soil. It was like they'd never been there at all. But they were. I know they were. And I know they're still out there too because my van still won't start. And I'm worried that tonight the knock will come again. Bro, what? That's the end of that story, and I am gonna pee myself. Oh my God. I hope that OP gets out of there. I'm never going to Idaho now. I'm just playing, but that is so scary. Oh my God. I grew up in a city my whole life, right? Like moderate sized city. So I just can't imagine being in like the boonies and like stuff like this happens. Also, if you're a van life person solo, which most of you are, and that do van life are usually solo, and then on top of that, you being a girl, like you guys are brave souls. I'll tell you that much. Very adventurous and like awesome, but that is stuff like this, like the whole thing where she said like she's been in parking lots where guys have tried to get into her van. Like, how does that not just scare the F out of you? All right, let's read the comments. It says, you definitely need to call for help. Call a mechanic or whatever you need to do. Don't stay there at night. Or don't stay there tonight. Call someone. Call a family member or friend. Tell them where you are and ask them to come pick you up. Yeah, I agree. OP says, I can't get any of my calls to go through. It's like something is blocking the signal. Well, how are you on Reddit then? Oh, no. Hope you make it out there alive. Did you try 911? 911 calls have to be sent through literally any network is there, regardless of the provider. I did not know that. That's cool. So no matter what, 911 calls will be sent through, or should be. I don't want to claim that it always will be. Damn it, they can send spacecraft out into the solar system, but they still haven't found a way to get cell phone service in the woods. Yeah, isn't that the whole like claim to fame for Starlink? They're trying to get it in like low-key areas. Man, that's crazy. Wow, what a start. That was so scary. Okay, this one is an interesting one to me because I am on dating apps. All right, the title of this one says, I deleted Hinge. You should too. Oh, all right, let's see. Let's see if they can convince me to delete my Hinge. He was beautiful. His profile was clever. Plus, he baked cupcakes in his free time. All right, that doesn't sound like a real man. I'm just playing. I'm totally joking. I love baking. I'm just bad at it. All right, so we matched. I broke the ice. He was quick to ask me on a date. Paint and sip. Very nice. After a frenzied afternoon of shaving, exfoliating, and spraying, I arrived a cool 4 minutes late. Oh, that's so far so good. Everything is pretty up to par to a normal Hinge date. The moment I saw him, I took a mental snapshot just in case this was it. An unfortunate habit. Wait, hold up. What? Like this might be like the partner for the rest of your life? Okay, interesting. An unfortunate habit stuck firmly in place since 7th grade. His features were elegant and refined. His stature, long and markedly lean. The type of person who attracted the eye effortlessly. Okay, so you're with like a baddie, bro. You're with young Brad Pitt in his prime, okay? He was lively and curious, and his nose wrinkled when he laughed. My favorite, with paint smeared and wine guzzled, our masterpieces were complete. What a great first date, a paint and sip. Like I've never done that in general. That sounds like a great time though. It was a brisk, drizzly evening. We bumped against each other every few steps and took turns critiquing each painting, affecting a snobby, highbrow sensibility. His shoulders felt solid despite his wary appearance. Oh, so he's like scrawny. Okay, interesting. He must work out, I thought. Oh, well, maybe he did. I don't know. We kissed against a wrought iron fence, bathed in the amber glow of an old street lamp, his tongue gentle and sweet against mine. I feel like I'm reading a smut novel. Reason I'm saying this is because it's just so like against the iron fence and stuff. It's just so funny to me. Yeah, you know, a girl writes something versus a guy, because majority of dudes, not all guys, but majority of dudes, when they write something, yeah, I kissed her after the date. It's against some like fence. Anyways, let's go back. I know this is supposed to be scary. All right. He pulled away for a moment, cupping my face affectionately. You taste so good. What? Are we on a nice guys subreddit? What the f? Who says you taste so good? That's nasty. All right, anyways, OP says he leaned back in, pressing more passionately than before. Sorry, guys. I know I'm interrupting this. Who the fuck says you taste so good? That's weird. What are you, a vampire? This dude's gonna be he's like Edward Cullen. All right. His tongue ventured deeper and deeper in my mouth. Ugh, ew, I don't want to hear this stuff, but okay. Probing, exploring. This is such smut. Before I knew it, it stroked my... What? What? Who the fuck writes uvula? This is so smut. It stroked her uvula? Uvula. Is that how you pronounce it? I think so. My stomach heaved and a surge of... No way. My stomach heaved and a surge of bile rose in my throat. I instinctively tried to push him away out of the splash zone, but he was dense and did not budge. Oh my God, is she gonna vomit on him? This is wild. This sounds like a horrible... My nausea was quickly replaced with sheer embarrassment. Again, I'm sorry to interrupt, but if you're kissing someone and you're going so deep that you're hitting their uvula, brother, you might be kissing wrong. Like, you can't be stabbing a girl's like throat. Like, what? That's so weird. All right, let's go. He apologized endlessly and admitted that he had not done this in a very long time. Makes a lot of sense. The abashed flush only made his face more handsome. You're still attracted to this guy? I mentally placed our paintings side by side above the tasteful couch we were certain to share in maybe a year or two. So she's seeing her life flash before her eyes with this guy, or like seeing like the wedding and all that stuff, right? But even perfect evenings must end. I'll call you an Uber, he declared. How chivalrous of you. Thank you, but there's no need. I live like 3 blocks that way. Oh, no way. What cross street? 87th and Amsterdam. You're kidding. I live right there, he shouted. He nearly shouted. That's wild. That is weird. I don't know. That's unsettling to me. What are the odds if you're in I don't know where they are, but I'm assuming like a New York or like a city because it's numbered streets. What are the odds you're in a city and you're on a date with a guy that lives right there? I mean, it's possible, but it's giving me You vibes from the Netflix show. We giggled like children as we continued along, referencing 2-hour-old inside jokes. Soon, my building towered over us. You showed this guy where you lived already. That's kind of okay. The burgundied brick etched in stark film noir shadows. His jaw hung agape. Well, maybe the vibes were just great, so I don't know. No, this is a prank. Where are the cameras? This is my building. Oh, he says that. This is a prank. No, this is a prank. Where are the cameras? This is my building. And then she says, that's insane, I cried. How did I not realize? A key turn later, we were stomping up the dank, spongy stairs, 1, 2, 3, flights up, up, up. With each floor, we grew giddier, more incredulous. I saw my door, then a familiar seasick green, paint chipped at the corners to reveal the previous crimson varnish underneath. A shabby 9A hung slightly askew. He approached it like an old friend. Well, this is me. I stopped dead. My hackles only now raised. Too little, too late. This one, 9A? What? Wait, is he saying that where he stays is where you stay? I'm confused. Let's keep going, though. I stopped dead. My hackles only now raised. Too little, too late. This one, 9A? He paused, calculating, then abruptly bellowed, "Yes, ma'am, home sweet home." He slapped the door sharply. The artful curve of his face twisted very slightly. Something strained and eager was there, right below the surface. "Can I come in? I'm curious if it has the same layout as mine." Whoa. I tested, wondering how far he'd take this. So I can't tell if this guy is pretending, like trying to just get laid, essentially, or what is going on. He blushed and shifted his weight, the perfect performance of chaste sincerity. "I'm flattered, but I really like you. I'd like to take things slow if that's okay with you." He smiled neatly, but his eyes remained wide, unblinking. This is weird. There we stayed for an uncomfortably long moment. I wasn't sure where to go from here. "I understand. Thank you for a wonderful evening." I presented my hand for a friendly shake, chest puffed out with counterfeit confidence. Wait, so I guess they stopped at his door? Okay, all right, I think so. And then, okay. Behind my ribcage, my heart galloped wildly. He must have heard it too. His spindled fingers laced through mine, the skin cool and waxy. How did I not notice that before? "You'll see me again, sooner than you think, neighbor." That's so weird to say. His strained cheeriness made my stomach churn. I left him there, outside the door to my own home. Wait, that is your place. And what the fuck is going? Okay, this just got really spooky. Sorry, guys. I was really confused. Let me give you guys a run back. So, homie says he also stays in the same building. And it could have been a coincidence, or he could just be saying that to try to, make a joke and try to get laid or something. I don't know. They both go up the elevator together. And then as she sees her door, she goes like, he approaches the door and says, "Well, this is me," meaning that he already knew where she lived, I think. And this weird interaction of like her trying to shake hands with him saying, "All right, well, I gotta go." But then he's still there. This is so weird. This is getting crazy, like stalker crazy, but let's keep going. Now I get it. This is like much more scary than I thought. All right. I left him there outside the door to my own home and continued up the stairs, fighting the urge to sprint away. Where else could I go but the roof? The night air stung my adrenaline-soaked skin. I flew to the crumbled edge and peered at the dizzying sidewalk below. The minutes slid by slowly, but finally, the front door squealed open. 1, 2, 3 crisp footsteps, and there he was, so many flights below me. He looked small all the way down there. Oh my God. This is a legitimate You. Like, if you guys have seen the show You on Netflix, this is a scene from it. Like, or it sounds like it. Like, this guy goes on a date with her, and everything was great. He's really charming, all this stuff. They go home, come to find out, he already knew where she was living, bro. And that is so creepy. He walks up to the door like as if like they were going to go inside. Like, brother, no. So she starts like frolicking away and was like, "Oh, well, I'll see you later." Goes up the stairs as if she's running away, essentially, right? But then she looks down the staircase and he's there. Like, I'm presumably also walking upstairs. Like, this is scary. He remained perfectly still. What was he doing? I thought of those big cats in National Geographic documentaries. Oh, that's funny. I'm wearing a National Geographic hoodie. That's so funny. What are the odds? Infinitely patient, ever ravenous. My pulse roared in my ears. I did not make a sound, I swear. And yet, that lovely head swiveled 180 degrees, his wide-eyed gaze immediately locating me. There we remain, tortuously frozen in time. In a split second, he spun on his heels and threw himself at the brick facade with inhuman speed. I swear to you, he scuttled up the side of the building, sinewy? I don't know how to say that. Limbs flailing violently. So he starts rushing up the stairs. This is scary as fuck. She goes, "My legs took over and dragged me from the spot by force. I burst back inside in record time, but his footsteps already scrambled onto the roof behind me. God, he was fast. I wouldn't make it. I threw myself at the mercy of gravity, hoping these trusty stairs would be there to support me. Sure enough, they came one after the other. In a moment, I was at my door. Okay, so did she like, I'm confused. Did she like do a switcheroo and like went downstairs? I don't know, but let's see. But those infernal footfalls carrying closer and closer with punishing speed. So then he starts coming back to her door. He obviously knows where she lives now, or has already. My numb fingers fumbled with the keys. Why did I have so many goddamn keys? That is really scary. Like if you, that's literally a movie scene. You're trying to get in your door because a guy is literally about to, I don't know, take you. I don't know. Slick with sweat. I managed to shakingly insert the correct one, turning it hurriedly. The door rasped ajar, pleading for me to come in quick. One foot to safety, I swiveled on my axis. Mere inches behind, he rocketed towards me, joints hinged far past their breaking point. Torso flung back in a grotesque arc, so deep that his exquisite skull dragged behind him. This is so, there's so many adjectives. Slammed mercilessly against each step with an appalling thud, thud, thud. At the threshold, he, or more accurately, it, lurched forward like an awful marionette puppet. That refined jaw split open, revealing a fleshy throat with rows of gleaming teeth spiraling into its depths. I'm confused. Is this a fiction story now, or is she just describing him like looking like a creature? At the threshold, he, or more... Okay, hold up. Just in time, I flung the door shut and threw my weight against it, bracing for an impact that never came. Oh, so she finally shut the door, and then he just runs off. Then silence. Then my phone buzzed. One new message. Look behind you. What? No way. My breath caught in my throat, though my every cell in my body begged me not to. I turned my fearful gaze there through the living room window. Hardly discernible in the inky darkness, the awful thing's eyes bulged, an endless abyss of pitch black. Its taut skin pulled back to reveal a dripping, toothy grin, then a camera flash. What? I'm confused. Did he fucking teleport inside your room, or was there another guy? I blinked away stars, fighting to see around the blind spots in my vision. I squinted through the murky glass, searching for that dreadful face, but it was gone. I haven't left my apartment all day. I don't think I ever will again. The daylight offers some comfort, but with each passing minute, the sun creeps closer to the horizon. I'll update you tomorrow if I make it. If not, I hope this post helps someone out there. And please, for the love of God, delete Hinge. Okay, this is very scary, but I am confused on some parts because I feel like there's some bits missing. And chat, can you guys let me know in the comment section if you understand the story? Because like I'm confused what happened when she turned around. Because like if she's in the door and she turned around and she saw something, is it another man or is it like I'm confused, you know? Also, another thing that was confusing was the whole like her racing up the stairs, but then somehow making it back to her room. Did she go down another flight of stairs? I'm a little confused. But yeah, anyways, let's read the comments. I literally snorted when she said that his spine was stretched so far back that his forehead was brushing the ground as he ran. I know it was probably really scary at that time, but you must admit that it was hilarious to see that like a cartoon. People say it's a vampire, but I don't think so. I've never heard of a vampire who does acrobatics while running, after all. Yeah, see, that was the part that also kind of got me. Also, if it was a vampire and he could fly, then why would he even be bothering to chase you? Interesting. What did I just read? I'm not sure. Unhinged. Yeah, I also agree. I'm confused. That's funny. A lot of people in the comments are thinking vampire. I don't know. Let's move on. See, stories like that isn't to me as scary as the van life one because the van life one is realistic as fuck. Like that. I mean, the other one could be realistic, but I don't know. There's so much like details that were kind of funky. But the van life one, I am mortified. That one was scary. Whoa, this one sounds scary. All right, possibly the last one for the day, depending on how long this is. All right, this one says, when I was 16, homeless kids were going missing in my town. I was one of them. Bro, what? I won't go into detail why I was thrown out of my house at 16. Financial problems. I came from a poor family. Mom and dad wanted me to get a job, and I wanted to stay in school, so that caused arguments. That's so weird that your parents, like, that's so fucked. I also made the mistake of revealing to them an intimate part about myself that I should have kept effing hidden. Look, I won't say being on the street was better, per se, but being away from that toxic environment was like a breath of fresh air. I live in a pretty big town. There was a lot of kids living on the streets. That's so sad. Damn. I did try and find somewhere at first. I stayed in hotels with my last remaining cash. Damn. But I found myself with the option of eating or starving. I was very stubborn at 16. I hated asking for handouts, and just the idea of asking my school for help was like losing. Damn, that's sad, bro. I feel like asking your school is the best alternative. And then, because like teachers are also kind of like care providers in a way, right? I obviously should have asked for help, but back then teachers didn't care. Damn, they must have been in like a shitty ass area. Kids in my school were severely bullied, and nothing ever changed. They were there just to teach, and that was it. So the thought of telling them I was effing homeless just wasn't happening. I didn't want their pity. Damn, that's so sad. I didn't want them to attempt to try to empathize with me, when in reality, they did not give a F. So yes, I ended up in the streets. But there was a community of us. We were all in the same situation, thrown out for the same reasons. Toxic and abusive parents or significant others. So all we had were each other. Damn, this is like Shameless. I've seen homeless kids depicted on TV movies as scrappy pickpockets. That's a lie. The kids who I hung out with weren't brave enough to pickpocket. If they saw cash, food, or anything they wanted hanging around unclaimed, they would snatch it up. The pickpocketing thing is just the media glamorizing the idea of being a street kid, turning them into a fun, quirky group of teenage criminals trying to survive. The reality is a lot more depressing. I ended up in a group of kids on the south side of our town. Ben, the leader of our gang. This is sad because this is actually like, I can see this, especially if you're in a city impoverished with homelessness, or I don't know, a tough situation. I mean, it could be anywhere, but especially in those cities, you know? So I could imagine this one. The more real the story is, the more scarier it is to me too. So Ben, the leader of our gang, was the latest to disappear. Holy crap. Look, I didn't believe in the quote unquote child catcher rumors. I thought they were just stories, but it did become evident someone was actually kidnapping street kids. That's so scary. I mean, if you guys watch those like serial killer documentaries and stuff, like they do target like some interesting fellers, you know, or people. I may have come from a toxic house, but I was sheltered. I didn't think things like this even existed. I had never been in the type of situation where they could exist. Kidnapping was like a foreign concept to me. It only happened in the movies and cartoons. But then familiar faces I knew started to disappear. Carly, a street performer who was trying to earn enough money to leave town. Jason, the weird kid with the eye patch who tried to steal my phone. These kids weren't friends, but they were comfortable. But they felt comfortable. They felt like a community, even when I wasn't personally close with them. Carly always smiled at me, offering me fresh donuts from some old man who handed it to her this morning. Jason was always skulking at the music stores asking for change. Every time I saw him, we talked about things that didn't even matter. But talking to him made me feel less alone. When Jason disappeared, that normalcy I got started to fade away. I looked for him, but his familiar purple woolen hat had vanished. Carly was always singing under the bridge every afternoon. I could hear her voice while snoozing in the park entrance. She sounded like an angel. With her gone, I felt colder than usual. I couldn't get normal no matter how many times I rubbed my hands. I couldn't get warm no matter how many times I rubbed my hands together and stuck them under my coat. I had holes in my socks and shoes, and the freezing chill was creeping into my bones. That's so sad, man. Like, this sucks. Like, having to even think that there is a population in our world. And I mean, it's the reality of the world, right? And no matter what country you're in, especially if you're in a third world, that there's like kids dealing with this. Like, that sucks, man. All right, anyways, Carly's disappearance really shook me. especially when several days later, a guy took her spot with his guitar, screaming out painfully bad reimaginations of pop songs. When Ben vanished, I started taking word of mouth more seriously. He's been taken by the white van, was the rumor that was floating around. The white van? Holy crap, that's so scary. Apparently, some kids saw Ben getting dragged into a white van. This kid was also known to be saying BS to get attention, but his claim was actually believable. Ben, Carly, Jason, and the other missing kids were last seen in the homeless shelter. So the place where kids were vanishing wasn't exactly ideal. But it did have hot soup and coffee, as well as a place to charge my phone, so I risked it. The homeless shelter was where most kids hung out every day. I used the most broken facilities to shower, used the bathroom, and tried to make connections with kids who were well known. Oh, she used the mostly broken facilities. Okay. It was pretty much a survival instinct at this point. If I was going to survive in the streets, I needed people that I could count on. That's really smart, actually. And there is a population out there of homelessness that gets missing from the nastiest people out there that will take them, You guys can infer. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get demonetized. But I had the constant need to get my name out there just in case I was one of the ones missing. But it turns out not all homeless kids play nice. I won't go into details, but there was a lot of names I thought I could trust and quickly learned that I couldn't effing trust anyone. I got my first phone stolen and then my shoes were snatched while I was sleeping. That sucks. I was definitely hardened after a while on the streets. So when Charlie came along, I basically told him to go F off. All of the connections I made just lost me cash, food, and my shit. The worst thing you could be as a street kid is nice. If you want to be left alone, you have to make it very effing clear that you want it. Without Ben's leadership, things went off the handle. I was quickly labeled as a naive bastard who effed with anyone. Most of my spots were compromised, so I had no choice but once again to risk the homeless shelter. My initial plan was to grab food and coffee and then make a run for it. I had the town library as a safe spot until 4 p.m. and after 10, the guy who owned the Chinese takeout begrudgingly let me sleep in his doorway. That's nice of the Chinese takeout guy. I think he felt sorry for me, but at this point I was too effing cold to care about pride. The volunteers in the soup kitchens were my age. I didn't know them, thankfully, but I was eager to get out of there. The food was a choice of cold curry or soup. I chose soup and a chunk of stale bread. The coffee was always lukewarm, but it was coffee. I wasn't going to complain. I was trying to eat as fast as I could without burning my mouth. When a kid I can only describe as the human embodiment of a golden retriever slid next to me, grasping his own bowl of soup. With dark brown hair under his hood and freckled cheeks, not to mention his expensive jacket and shoes, I knew the street would eat him alive. This kid looked like he stepped right out of a perfect suburban home. He had a mommy and daddy and a perfect effing life. Lucky him. I was having a hard time taking in his expensive clothes. Yet his hair was greasy and his clothes were slightly discolored. Holes in the gloves, dirt smeared his face. So he was clearly sleeping rough. But the guy was asking to get his branded coat stolen. Take that off, I said, through a mouthful of stale bread. Damn, guys, this is a long story. This is definitely gonna be our last one. Holy crap, this is really long. Oh my God. All right, well, I didn't know what I was getting into, but we're already in too deep, so let's stick it through. I'm gonna have to speed up a little though. I didn't want to say hi because hi was an invitation to join me. I was on my third phone and I wasn't taking any chances with this kid. Holy crap, why did you have to scare me, Sora? What the hell? How the door cracked and this dude just jumps right through it. Anyways, I nodded at his jacket and he looked confused. Huh? Put it back in your book bag, idiot. This was just a warning of my past mistakes. I did have my dad's expensive watch and some shoes I brought from some kid I left from home. I lost them, but blah, blah, blah. Elizabeth and Murray, two older kids I trusted, were now proud owners of my shit. The guy had a docile look on his face. Eyes were like a effing deer. I had no idea how he had survived this long. If he was sleeping in the shelter, yes, it was safer and warmer, but it made him look like a target for kidnapping, unless he wanted to lose it. I added, finishing my soup. Blah, blah, blah. So she's talking to this guy. After being effing around with by Ben's asshole friends, it felt strangely good to be an asshole back to a total stranger. The kid hesitated before pulling off his jacket and backpack, awkwardly yanking off the jacket and stuffing it inside his bag. He says, thanks. He introduced himself. I'm Charlie. When I stood to leave, grabbing my own pack, I told him I didn't ask and that it was nice meeting him. When he followed me, I thought we were just going to go in the same direction, but then he took to turn down the alley and his footsteps hesitated before coming after me. I was ready to tell him to beat it, but Charlie looked lost. He had a look in his face like he was trying to failing to look intimidating. This kid didn't look like he was going to steal my stuff while I was sleeping. I didn't officially ask him to join me, but it sort of just happened. When I got back to my spot, he dropped his blah, blah, blah. What's up, buddy? You want to start reading for me? Let's get to the scary part, bro. This is a lot of fucking context. All right, so she ends up befriending this guy, right? And kind of. Not really wanting to, but then it just happens. It's really cold. Like a lot of snow had to happen. They like snow, but it was freezing because they're obviously still kids. They start talking about religion. She didn't really believe in religion. Sorry, guys. This is a lot of context. I just want to get straight to like the scary stuff. Okay, here we go. So she started developing like this sense of safety and comfort around this kid that she met, Charlie, after a few months. And he felt safe to her, right? So they kind of began this friendship. Okay, here we go. I went back to the wall, ready to apologize to Charlie, but to my surprise, he was gone. I figured he'd gone searching for food since it was almost around dinner time, so I waited. I waited until the sky was dark, and I was so effing cold, my bones ached. So this is after months of her developing this friendship with this kid, right? Like they're actually like homies now, and they like traveled or survived together. I noticed an old man who was playing chess with pigeons earlier. Charlie had pointed him out, laughing, blah, blah, blah. I hurried to him. Did you see him earlier? Or did you see me earlier? I twisted around, pointing to the wall of two of us sat on. The man nodded. Oh, you're looking for your friend? He slid another chess piece around the board. I believe he walked that way with a man a few hours ago. Now it begins. Here we go. What man? I felt like I was going to puke. I asked him to describe the guy, but the old man shrugged. I have bad eyes, kid. It was just a man, late 40s, I think. His expression softened when my stomach crawled into my throat. Are you all right? He reached into his pocket and pulled out a sour candy, dropping it in my hand. You should go home now, kid. I'm sure your parents are worried about you. Again, I asked to describe this man, this time through my teeth. But the old guy just turned back to his one-man chess game. I think part of me was in denial. She went back to the sleeping spot, hoping to be optimistic, but he wasn't there. I ran back to the shelter with his name choked in my mouth. I was living my personal own nightmare. So she had finally gained a friend, someone that she like really actually enjoyed the presence of. And then he also could have possibly been taken by this guy. Oh God. I just got weird looks, kids looking progressively more freaked out. I wouldn't accept it at first. Charlie could have been anywhere, but the longer I waited for him in all of our spots, it became clear that Charlie was just another missing kid in the streets who was 1 minute there and 1 minute gone. He was another Ben, Carly. But this time, I made the mistake of getting to know him. He was more than just his name. He was my friend. I asked strangers if they'd seen him. Passers-by looked me up and down like I was dirt on their shoe. People like here didn't really care for kids in the who disappeared from the streets. A lot of sorries, I don't knows. I can't help you, kid. I'm sure he's out there somewhere. I'm going to tell you the hardest thing I've come to realize. It's easy to be numb on the streets. It's easy to be shut down. It's easy to be mourned because it was too effing cold. I didn't forget about Charlie, but I did bury him so I wouldn't forget how to survive. So a month later, I thought I was effing hallucinating when I saw that all too familiar jacket, the one I told him multiple times to keep out of sight. It was snowing again. It was thick, wet, blah, blah, blah. There he was, somehow. Charlie was standing in the middle of an empty road in dead of night. I didn't question why or how. I just hugged him, mentally promising myself I would never let him go again. Charlie was so warm. Where'd you go? I demanded, shoving him back. Charlie just smiled, and I noticed his pocket, an iPhone sticking out. I think I was about to laugh, wondering how he'd managed to get an iPhone when I blah, blah, blah. So they like embraced, blah, blah, blah. I remember being violently dragged back. Oh, wait, hold up. What? Whoa. Holy shit. All right, here we go. Let's lock in. This is where it gets juicy. I'm sorry that it took so long, but this is, oh my God. All right, here we go. I think I was about to laugh, wondering just how he managed to get an iPhone when a clammy hand suddenly clamped over my mouth. Warm arms wrapped around my torso and yanked me back. I screamed, but my cries were muffled. The hand clamping tighter until I couldn't effing breathe. I remember being violently dragged back, my feet stumbling, my body struggling to stay upright. I was dragged halfway down the street, hoisted into a stranger's shoulders, and dumped into the back of an awaiting van. So they used him as a lure. It didn't feel like it was happening to me. All those nights I had nightmares about the next kid being snatched away. I thought it would never be me. I couldn't even cry out. My body was paralyzed. Felt paralyzed. I was dragged backwards through snow, and then I was on my knees in the ice cold flooring of the van, jerking left to right, staring at shutters being pulled down like I was an animal. I forwards, but it was a trap. I'm sorry, Finn. Charlie's voice prickled the silence. The back of the van was cold, and the smell was already there, potent, a thick, rotting decay. But you're the perfect body and shape for my father. What? So Charlie said that? Or who said that? What the fuck? Okay, so you're the perfect body and shape for my father, he said. His voice, deadpan and wrong. I hope this doesn't change things between us, he whispered. His voice was different, taunting and cold, shedding shivers down my spine. We're still friends, right? I screamed at him. That bastard, he played the role so well. I should have freaking applauded him. I slammed my fists into the shutters, but the ignition came to life, and the van jerked forward, sending me stumbling back. I dropped to my knees, choking on the stink of decay. I didn't want to look. The light was too bright, too invasive, scorching the chill from my skin. I stayed on my knees until the smell got bad, but I had to freaking look. In front of me were bodies. Most of them were faceless with no features, skin already crumpled from bones jutting out. What? One of them caught my eye, lying on the bottom of the pile. Ben. His skin was gray. Dried blood stained his face, painting his clothes. What the this is a horror movie. I just got so much chills. I have to close my door again. I'm sorry, buddy. You either come in or you stay out. I had to close the door. I'm getting spooked. I was already trying to roll him onto his front so I could have a look at him. So I didn't I didn't have to look at him. His eyes were open, like they were still alive, like he was still alive. I shoved him onto his stomach, and something sour crawled up my throat, my stomach revolting. I thought was seeing things, but no. When I reached forward, my fingers touched them, the twisted feathering appendages protruding from twin slits, cruelly sliced into a jutting spine. I shuffled back, a cry crawling through my throat. Okay, at this point, I want to establish, so this kid, Charlie, I don't know if he's actually the kid of this guy, but it sounds like this dude is taking kids and he has a fascination for dismembering them or something, like on some type of like actual serial killer stuff, you know? And I don't know if the kid's actually his kid or if he's a kid who he made an agreement with, like, hey, you're going to call me father from now on, blah, blah, blah. And like he gives him stuff just for him to kind of play decoy. I shuffled back, a cry crawling through my throat, wings. They were rotten, decaying, the wings of a bird or something, sliced with his flesh. Oh, spliced with his flesh. I could see where his back had been cut open. Oh, yep, this is a serial killer. An actual one. All the way down his spine, Ben was dead. How did this person survive this? This is insane. This is an actual movie. His wings were dying, festering inside a body that was ice cold and alone, where he would never be found. So they put wings in him? What? That thought was quick to hit me, just like me. Carly's short brown curls were buried under another corpse, a much younger kid. I could see the pale blue of her coat, her yellow hat still frozen in her head. Carly had one singular wing sticking from her back. So this dude was putting wings on their backs as they're dead. That's crazy. While the rest of her rotted away, I tripped over something, Carly's backpack. I could glimpse Jason's kicks sticking out of the pile. I couldn't look. They had names. They were real kids. Carly, Ben, Jason. They existed. Even if this world was so obsessed with erasing them. Finn. Charlie's whisper whispered or slipped through the shutters. I held onto his voice, willing it to be him. Charlie, do you believe in angels? He once asked me again. Oh, okay, so earlier at that part that I skipped over, that when Charlie and her was making a friendship and they were talking about religion, he did ask her, do you believe in angels? So this is like kind of a callback to that. He still had the voice, that innocent chipper tone I fell for. But there was an unmarkably twisting madness clinging to every word. I didn't respond. I wouldn't give him the satisfaction. After a while, his voice stopped trying to get my attention. I just sat, freezing cold, my arms around my knees. I was gonna die. I kept looking at the kids who vanished, their bodies twisted and contorted into a cruel fantasy. The van stopped when I was falling asleep, jerking me awake. I heard footsteps outside. The shutters slid open. So this was all inside of the van, okay? And in front of me, to my surprise, was a middle-aged woman. Her smile was kind, despite the gleam in her eye. She held out her arms, gesturing for me to come towards her. It's okay, honey, she told me. You're okay now. Charlie was standing next to her, his arms folded. Careful, he muttered, nudging her. I saw her lip curl in disgust. Illuminated in the van's headlights, I saw who really was a spoiled, psychotic kid playing with his toys. What? Wait, illuminated in the van's headlights, I saw who really was a spoiled, psychotic kid playing with his toys. Charlie mockingly stepped back. He might attack you. Behind him stood a towering man holding a gun, pointed it between my eyes. I had no choice letting him pull me from the van. The man was quick to slip a shot into the back of my neck, which turned my body into lead. I was lifted into someone's arm. I remember they were warm. The last thing I remember was a bright light getting closer. This is so scary. I don't know how long I was out for, long enough to get an actual proper sleep. When I opened my eyes, I was staring at the sun peeking to the... Brother, are you going... Stop me. When I opened my eyes, I started staring at the sun peeking through gaps in the wooden door. My head turned at an awkward angle. It looked like I was in some kind of farmhouse. I could see piles of hay and horse poop in the corner. I was laying on my stomach, my wrist. The pain still slow. Damn, this is so much, dude. Guys, I'm gonna have to skim through this because we're already an hour into filming. This is such juicy stuff, though. The pain wouldn't leave. Wait, hold up. She woke up in like a farmhouse. It was really painful. Her vision was blurred. I had sensory issues since I was a kid, but it felt like my entire upper back had been split open. I could feel my own blood dripping out of my skin and something cruel and sharp forcing flaps of flesh apart. The thought of being cut open was enough to send me into hysteria. I remembered screaming until my throat was raw until I passed out again. This time it was a mercy. The pain wouldn't leave, pulling me into agony and then letting me go. When I came across the second time, I felt the cold scalpel slicing into my... Oh, God. Oh, what? Stitches holding me together. That's all. Finished. The man's voice sounded. The body is almost ready. But when? The voice sent shivers creeping down my spine. Charlie. Oh, Charlie said that. He said that last time. And the last 3 angels died, Dad. Wow. So this is on some religious, stuff. So what I'm gathering is that this family, mom, dad, and the kid, is religious cult freaks, like A24 type movie. And they collect these kids and they try to create them into angels. Wow. Admit that you're just killing them and you have no idea what you're doing. I said he's ready, the man grumbled. So let him fly. Charlie groaned. Come on, Dad. I want to see the angel fly. I was aware I was gasping into the cold surface. So they're genuinely seeing if they can create angels out of these kids. His stitches are still fresh, the man said. When he's ready, you can play with him. What the fuck? I was left alone after that, hours and a full day, but I wasn't hungry anymore. I wasn't thirsty. I didn't sleep. I was trying to find the best position to lie on my side when footsteps started at me. Hey, Finn. Charlie's voice was an excited whisper. I felt his warm fingers tiptoe down my back before reaching for my restraints. He pulled them apart, helping me up, and I immediately dragged my hand down my back. Ugh, where I could touch my ugly protruding spine, but instead I felt smooth skin. Slowly, I lowered myself off the table. Charlie was holding my backpack. Here, he said excitingly, shoving it to my chest. Dad says I'm not allowed to let you go yet, but I'm getting too impatient. His eyes never left my back. Without responding, I took my backpack, shoved him back, and broke into a sprint. I pushed through the doors of the farmhouse and kept running. I expected to be grabbed and pulled back, but I wasn't. Charlie just stood there and watching me, grinning. An inhumane grin stretched across his face. I didn't stop until I couldn't breathe, until I was on my knees on some unfamiliar road in the middle of nowhere. I was picked up by a woman who offered to take me home to a sheriff's station. She gave me hot tea and food, but I declined both. I wasn't hungry and my body didn't feel like my own. When we got into the town, I wasn't sure I knew where I was. I dived out of her car. I went to the restroom, pulled off my shirt, and ran my fingers down my back. I could feel them. Something was moving underneath my skin, twitching like they were alive. When I gingerly touched my skin, I could feel the stitches all the way down my spine. Oh, that's so gross. Part of me wondered what would happen if I ripped them open. So they put something inside her back. Restless night on the street, I realized I couldn't freaking do it anymore. I ended up asking for help with the pain in my back that kept me up at night. I could feel them physically trying to push through my skin, straining against my spine. Oh, this is gonna be nasty, huh? I couldn't sleep on my back or my side. My best sleeping position was laying on my stomach. Winter moved into spring, and I felt like I was dying. I couldn't eat, and I was weak. I think it was luck, maybe a miracle. I walked into one of my old teachers. What? Miss W. She didn't ask about my situation. But she did offer a place to stay. That was the best thing about Miss W. No matter how much I knew she wanted to ask, she never invaded my privacy. She asked about she saw the scars on my back, saw me puke up everything I ate, but she didn't speak. Miss W asked me if I wanted to share anything with her, and I said no. If anyone knew what was inside my back, I'd be sliced open again. I was 19 at this point. Oh, wow. 3 years has passed since the beginning of the story. And I was tired and in too much pain to care about accepting handouts. Miss W let me sleep in her spare room, offered me food, but I would never eat it. I could only drink water, and even that was hard to stomach. She took me into the emergency room and to get my back checked out, but after I suffered a panic attack and the thought of opening up to a doctor, she promised no hospitals. The pain got worse. It laughed at medicine. It got so bad one night I stood on the roof of Miss W's house and let the pain take me, ripping through me until something was splitting my spine. Ooh, I could feel them coming through, breaking into my skin. They felt wrong and awkward, like additional limbs. I panicked and I shook hands. And with shaking hands, forced the twitching things back into their twin slits. That did relieve the pain. I still couldn't eat or drink, but I did start to feel human again. Miss W offered to send me back to school, and I did. I went back to finish high school. Eating, drinking got easier, and I think my body just got used to it. After school, I got into community college, and with Miss W helped me buy my first place. I grew up with the gnawing feeling that something wasn't right with me. The pain was still agonizing, and sometimes I would have to rip. Oh, and at times I would have to rip the stitches and let them free. What are they? What is in your body? I want to know. I've never once tried to figure them out because I'm effing terrified of them. But I'm 29 now, so 10 years have passed. I live far away from my hometown. I have a boyfriend, an apartment. I finally feel human again. Last night, I was waiting for the train. It was freezing, and already I could feel my back twitching. Pain started gnawing at me. It's worse these days. Not just the pain. I'm sleepwalking. But I'll find myself blocks away from my house with no recollection of how I got there. I don't know why I'm no different from my teenage self. I still don't want to ask for help because whatever is inside me isn't human. So I keep my mouth shut. There was a homeless girl slumped in the corner of the platform. I've made it my goal. Whenever I see a homeless kid, I point them out to the nearest shelter. And when they roll their eyes at me, I offer to take them there myself. I don't leave them until I know the kids are safe. Yes, that can be difficult. They're a lot more vocal these days. Kids have authority figures, especially authority figures that failed them. But I want to be made clear that they can ask for help, and there is help. I was already halfway across the platform when I glimpsed familiar brown curls nestled under a green beanie. I knew it was him. He was wearing that exact same jacket, clinging onto a wider frame. He was taller. His face was matured with the 5 o'clock shadow, talking loudly on an expensive phone. So this was Charlie again. I took my eyes off the girl for 1 second. 1 second. I turned back to her and she was gone, just like that. So they were still abducting these kids. When I searched the crowd, dude, that is spine tingling. I caught her blonde ponytail behind her. A man pulled her through strangers. I started forwards and someone pulled me back. No, Finn. Charlie's voice was in my ear suddenly. She had the perfect shape and body for my father, he mumbled, which is the exact same thing he said to her. His voice kept me paralyzed while the girl was getting further and further away before becoming a speck and then bleeding into nothing. I want to see you fly, Finn, Charlie whispered. I twisted around and he was gone. When I left the station, sitting on the bench was his old threaded backpack, nothing inside, but I knew why he left it. He was telling me he's watching me. Charlie is bragging that he's taking more kids right in front of me. I've looked everywhere for the girl and I can't find her. When I asked a group of kids, they were defensive, clearly not trusting me before I warned them that someone was kidnapping them. They told me 3 guys and a girl, blonde, had all vanished. I asked when, and that's when they started getting suspicious. They left without telling me, and I've spent the last week looking for these kids. The only way I'm gonna find these kids is if I find these sick bastards who took me. Before he does, that was really scary. The wind made one of my things move in the trees and shit. The only way I'm going to find these kids is if I find the sick bastard who took me before he does to them what he did to Ben, Carly, and Jason and me. Wow. What did we just read? Was that a horror novel? What? I know I skipped a lot of that. Granted, the filming time is an hour and 13 minutes. There's no way I could have read every detail, but oh my God, we just really read that. That was really scary. What the hell? Let's read these comments before I go. So you haven't seen what was in your back. You won't even admit to yourself what it is. Why did you survive when so many others died? Do you think it's because you're stronger, more resilient, or just more stubborn? Do you have blackouts, lost time, no memories of large chunks of your life? Charlie wants you to see you fly. Maybe you fancy yourself to be an angel he created by a madman and his Swiss son. You'll remember one day, you will see the lost time unfold, and the angel that you might think you are, well, I think you're in for another disappointment. Wow. That is unsettling. I feel very weird. I'm so sorry if you guys had to stick through that with me because that was a lot and that was scary. Yeah, I probably won't get any sleep. r/no sleep. Let's go. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. I hope you guys have a great day and thank you if you guys listened to this whole thing. That was a lot. Holy crap. Yeah. Let me know what you guys want to see next, I guess. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.